personal time and space, and how do we continue to manifest stillness in our life? And one of the times that I found myself still, where I least expected it, was when I first attended the Center for Spiritual Living in San Jose. And if anybody thinks the greatest showman on earth is Hugh Jackman, they have clearly never seen Reverend David on a Sunday morning at CSL in San Jose. It was such a powerful experience. And being a theology major myself, when I was in college, that was my track of study. I was really struggling over the years to find only one way to express my love of divinity and the expression of different forms and different paths to divinity. So I'd really been struggling with that. And I found that message that David relayed that morning to be so powerful because it was so inclusive. It was inclusive of all the traditions as being the right way to the ultimate way. And I immediately felt at home. So imagine my surprise when in my backyard, after moving to San Carlos a year ago, I found the center here. Yay! It's been coming home for me and bringing my voice back and my divinity back. And I'm so grateful to each and every one of you and to the center. And in my continued quest for stillness, I was fortunate enough to attend the Asilomar conference in Pacific Grove at the end of July. And it was so amazing. And I just want you to know that you are all so well represented. Greg Hargrove and I carried the torch for the Center of Spiritual Living Peninsula throughout Pacific Grove. We had an absolutely wonderful time. And the topic conference for the week was Revealing the One. And it was so powerful. And the one was revealed everywhere you went there, from the deer that I could see every morning outside my back patio to a 10-minute walk later where I was on the beautiful Pacific Ocean. Everyone there was there in community, in divinity, and you could just feel the history of the science of mind there. I got to stand where Ernest Holmes stood at his fireside chats with his peers. That was really, really exciting. And to actually see and feel the history of this group and of this pioneering thought process was so powerful. And I wanted to read an excerpt from his sermon by the sea. This was the last sermon that he actually gave at Asilomar after the conference has been around for about 40 years. So a lot of the people that were attending this conference had been there equally long and had been attending every year. So it's a very powerful, just continuing science of mind thought group, which is really, really powerful. So this particular piece was very moving for me. Those who bear witness in consciousness do not need to retire from life. The great man is he who in the midst of the crowd can keep with perfect simplicity the independence of his solitude. It is not in the mountain or the temple in Jerusalem. It is in our own heart, our own mind, our own consciousness, our own being, where we live 24 hours a day, awake or asleep, that eternal share of the infinite comes to us, because every man is some part of the essence of God, not as a fragment, yet as totality. And it's my wish for each and every one of you that today the one stillness is revealed to you and through you. Thanks.
So she didn't mention it, but this was her very first time doing this.
Yeah. Awesome, Carrie. Absolutely awesome. Thank you. Namaste. So my name is Reverend Kathy Sharma, and it is my absolute delight to be your minister today. This is our very first week in August, so we have a brand new theme. Our monthly theme for the month of August is the form of spiritual treatment. So we hear about spiritual mind treatment in so many writings of Ernest, and the whole month of August we're going to explore different elements of it. So for our very first week, I get to talk about how to give a spiritual mind treatment. Now that term itself, if you're new to our teachings, is a little bit peculiar. What the heck is spiritual mind treatment? And many people look at what that concept is as prayer. But prayer has this connotation to many people that is a little bit negative. It's beseeching. It's begging. It's cajoling some unknown deity to please, 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 I'll be really good. Then will you give me some type of favor? And we don't believe that. We don't believe that. We believe, as Carrie so eloquently said, that divine is inside each and every one of us. And when practitioners go to school, they don't even use the word prayer, they use the word treatment because we are treating. And when I hear the word treatment, I love words if you haven't figured that one out. I just absolutely love the language itself. Treatment is a healing, isn't it? So it's not beseeching, it's not begging, it's not pleading, it's healing. And Bobby's giving me this look like, Kathy, you know where I'm going with this. Healing isn't the word either, is it? Because healing implies there's something wrong. There's nothing wrong with us. We are whole, perfect, and complete. So when you're going to practitioner school, for the people who look at that as their path, what we get taught is to reveal. We don't heal, we reveal. We reveal the truth of who we really are. That divine essence that makes each and every one of us a unique and blessed entity connected at a bigger level to the divine. It's like looking at your individual self with a small s and your divine self with a large S. And science of mind treatment is a structure that helps to bring that divine sense of who each and every one of us is to the forefront when it's sometimes a little bit harder to do it, to just say, I'm divine. If you'd ever ask me, Kathy, are you divine? I'd say yes, absolutely, every single time. And then I'm going to turn around and I'm going to cuss somebody for cutting me off on the road. And I'm going to get all bent out of shape because my husband is my husband. You know, this is life. This is life. Spiritual mind treatment helps me bring back that divine part of me, the big S. There's several steps to it. So actually, interesting little bit of history. Ernest Holmes has created the spiritual mind treatment as one of the great, great gifts he gave the New Thought world. But he had 4 steps. We have 5 steps. We added one after he had written this, I think maybe 20 years after he had died. Who in the room, besides a practitioner or a minister, can tell me the very first step in spiritual mind treatment? Recognition, very good. Second step. Absolutely right. Third one. Gratitude? Not yet. Okay. Almost. Declaration, exactly right. Then. And finally. So let's look at those in a little bit more depth. Recognition, I look at as explaining what is God. If a Martian were to walk in this room right now and said, you all guys are talking about this God stuff, what is that? What would you say? And it's a big question. Because we have these concepts, these big, big concepts in our lives that we often don't look inside to really get an understanding of what the concept is. Because we are bound by language, right? How can we communicate anything except through language? When we have a concept as big as God, we are limited in how we can describe it by the words that we use. The very first step looks at the essence of what we want to recognize. What I do with my treatment, if I have a specific thing that's going on, and it's always nicer to start with the purpose. What do I want? I have so many things going on in my life right now. I just want the energy to do them all. You know, I have very simple needs. So that's what my purpose is I need energy. So of all the wonderful, beautiful things that I can think of that the divine mind, the one spirit is, what do I want to bring forward right now to help me get enough energy to do all the things that I need to do? Power. God is power. I am power. Peace, because I don't want to be all caught up in twists with it. I want to just peacefully go about all the things that I need to do. So my recognition is that there is a divine peace that is filled with the power of the universe, that is everything everywhere. And this whole element of power is so filled with peace, so filled with love. It can create nothing but what it is, which is peace and love, powerfully. I recognize this beautiful sense. I can feel it in the room. And I'm part of that. If we sit and talk about God as equally everywhere present, it makes sense that there's a divine element inside me. So therefore, I am peace. I am love. I am power. I have united who I am with the one mind, the one spirit, that one divine essence that exists inside me, as me, is me. Is there anything I can't do if I've got this power inside me that is the exact same power that has created the stars, the planets, the mountains, the chairs, the carpeting, the ceiling? Anything I see has come from a thought which is divine. So I've got that same power. And when I'm stuck sometimes in my little self, my smaller s, I forget. And spiritual mind treatment, right away, step 1 and step 2, just brings me back to who my truth is. And I can then make that declaration. I've got all the energy I need. I can do a long meeting. We're going till 8 o'clock tonight with the meeting after service. I got that. Yeah, and we were out till another, 8 o'clock last night, doing another event. And I go to work at 6 o'clock Monday morning. I got it. Now, would I like to have something a little bit less intense? Sure. My choice, right? Because we're a choice in our lives. Every single thing that is coming into my life, I've chosen one way or another. So if I'm complaining, oh man, I got way too much to do. So, Kathy, what are you going to not do? Or maybe not complain because it's something I've chosen. So as I've made my declaration that I have all the energy in the world, in the universe, in the multiverse, because I am a divine creature, I give thanks right away. I don't have to wait and see it materialize in my life. I don't have to see this burst of energy as I'm doing cartwheels down the aisle. I know that this is going to happen. Absolute 100% conviction. It is that belief, that strength in faith that gives it the power to manifest in the world. So I immediately give thanks. Just thank you, God.
And when that thanks is out there, Went out of battery? I know, I was on a roll, wasn't I?
Still are.
Thank you. Might have just been a battery, Billy. Let's do this then. That's not going to work. We have ways, right? So when I am in that place of gratitude, absolutely knowing that everything that I put into this treatment is going to happen, I've said my gratitude, I let it go. I let it go. Carrie had mentioned Reverend David down in San Jose. He does this beautiful, beautiful story. It's like putting a letter in a mailbox. Do you then lurk in the bushes and wait for the mailman to come to make sure your letter gets taken? No. Some might, yeah, right, some might. But we just let it go. We just let it go. And that is what spiritual mind treatment is. Recognize, unify, declare or realize, whichever, people use different words, gratitude, and let it go. When we teach this in Sunday school, God is, I am, it is, thank you, and so it is. Simple, isn't it? Simple. And kids get that. Kids get that. Kids get that they're divine. We have to struggle with that. And it's because of our past. Many of us have learned throughout life something different. Something that says we're not divine. But that's a learned behavior. That's not real. And we learn all kinds of things. And spiritual mind treatment, again, is that way we can bring things back to who we are. So many of you know my husband sitting in the back, John Sharma. I had in my history learned behavior that said for a woman to have a successful relationship, she had to give up every part of who she was and do exactly whatever her relationship wanted her to be. 1950s, isn't it? And that's how I was raised. So did I have very many successful relationships? No, because I tried to do that. I really tried. Oh, you want me to be a dancing person? Okay, I'll go dancing every single Saturday night. Well, I don't really like dancing. I like listening, I like watching, but I'm not a dancer. But I'd go out to the clubs every night. I do so many things. And what I got really, really fast with each and every relationship that didn't work was that they had a problem. Right? Boy, did I choose these losers. They were womanizers. They had drug problems. They had alcohol problems. They had financial problems. They treated me poorly. They didn't spend enough time with me. These people, right? Well, did my life change that way? Of course not. Of course not. I did that for 20 years. And one day I just woke up and I said, whoa. What do these people have in common? Oh, man, it's me. So I stopped dating. I just stopped. And I did some very, very serious therapy, serious spiritual work, and said, I need to understand who I am. I don't even know what to ask for. How can I go into a spiritual mind treatment and say, I want this, when I don't know who I am? One of my dear, dear friends said, well, Kathy, you're kind of doing this make a man kit, and you're taking away this and you're taking away that. He can't screw around with other women. He can't take my credit card without my permission. And I had a list of all the don'ts. But it didn't tell me who I was. So Unity is who I was with at the time. They had a course, a prosperity course, that was a 16-week program based on the 12-step program, which was fascinating. So they also started right away with prosperity is not always about money. I mean, we think it. When we hear prosperity, we think checkbook, we think money, we think cash. What about prosperous in health? Prosperous in friends? Prosperous in romantic relationships? So I took this 16-week course as a gaining prosperity in relationship. And I visioned, I collaged, I went to magazines and I cut out pictures of people, guys on motorcycles, like, yeah, I'll be a little biker chick, this is kind of cool. I can do that a heck of a lot better than I can dancing in a disco all night long. Going to the beach, taking a walk, sitting on a couch and watching TV. All of that is who I am. So I had pictures of all of these things. I also had an affirmation. And following the 12-step program, one of the things you first do, you recognize the power that is greater than you, that I surrender to what I can. And I also did a fearless inventory of me, which my therapy had helped me to come to that conclusion of what I am, who I am, how I am. And then it's going and looking at, what do I want? I had, goodness, easily 50 different things that was my ideal mate. And it's funny, looks never came into it. Another thing that never came into it, gender. It just didn't come up. I didn't say a guy. I just said, I want a romantic, loving relationship that appreciates me for who I am, that is open to all types of spirituality, that loves animals, that is adventurous and open to doing new things. He's sitting in the back of the room. And I did spiritual mind treatment every single day. One of the things that this course, and it's the equivalent in Unity, they don't call it spiritual mind treatment, but it's the same thing. Express your gratitude, acknowledge this divine energy in the world, make your declaration. And my declaration on a daily basis was something, thank you, divine love, for bringing me the life mate of my dreams. Beautiful, isn't it? And it wasn't even about marriage. John was the one that said, let's get married. And I said, oh, okay. I had my love. It didn't matter what form it took. But it took time to get there. And there were things, too, that they talked about in this Unity class, to act as if. So when you're looking for something really big, what's going to change? If you have all the money you need, what's going to change? If you have that romantic relationship, what's going to change? Well, do it now. So when I set the table for dinner, when I'm living alone, beautiful place in San Francisco, right by the ocean, I set 2 plates. When I walked into my empty house, hi, honey, I'm home. That's what I would do if I had a relationship. And I looked at all these various things. And each time I came up with a new component to add to my list, I recognized that there was that part of me that was tapping into the divine. Because I wasn't thinking about these things, but it was that openness that I had through being connected, through recognizing that there's that part in each and every one of us that is a divine mind. That one essence of who we really are. When I met John, every relationship prior to that, and we're talking 20 years, right? Within a year, they were gone. It was just, because I can't hold it up, right? If you're trying to be something you're not, it doesn't work. It doesn't last. With John, inside of a year, we had bought a house together, he had proposed, and 6 months later we got married. But I had to receive it. I had to receive it. And that's where the whole spiritual mind treatment comes into play, that lets that opening occur. The whole power in spiritual mind treatment also comes from faith. Faith and belief and conviction is the engine that drives those affirmations. When I was in the midst of that program, when I came home and said, hello, honey, to an empty house, I believed. I absolutely 100% believed that I was going to be involved in a deep, meaningful, romantic relationship. And I am. And that was 16 years ago. And the whole thing with time, spirit doesn't have time. Time's a human construct. We have created clocks, and we have created things that are specific to the self with the small s, a human self, not the divine self. So this is where a lot of people would kind of get a little bit frustrated about, I've been praying every day, what's happening? There's no such thing as a day. It's just holding the thought in consciousness, this is coming to me, and knowing it. Absolutely believing it without a shadow of a doubt. And in some areas, that's hard. That's hard. We have shadows. We have doubt. Ernest Holmes talks in The Science of Mind, one of my favorite quotes. Again, San Jose was where I kind of grew up. Page 52 in Science of Mind. Hence it follows, if you believe that it does not work, and it does not work, it is working according to your belief that it won't work. Look it up sometimes. It is hysterical. But it's true, isn't it? It's true. And then we have the ability to go and blame everybody. I told you this stuff didn't work. And it did work according to our belief. So it's always about starting first with your own thoughts. Because this is the part of us, our divine mind, that connects each and every one to each and every one. There's only one mind, one thought, one absolute infinity of life that we're in touch with when we come and do that spiritual mind treatment. There's another really interesting story that just happened yesterday, actually. So John and I had been looking to get a new camper. We met on a camping trip, and we go camping 2 or 3 times every year. So we ended up getting one of those cab-over camper things, which is really, really big, and it's hard for me to drive. And over the years, a particular one had just gotten to be a little bit older, a little bit rustier. So we decided to buy a new one. And this was one of those moments in a marriage when you have a conversation and you realize you're not in agreement. Never happens to anybody here, right? Nah. So, and it was difficult. I mean, we had some, we don't yell at you. We're not yelling people, but we do this cold shoulder, And there was a couple cold shoulders going on. And we always come back to center. We always come back to who we are. But it was very, very logical in John's perspective. He wanted to get rid of the old camper before we bought a new camper. That's logical. That makes sense. There's no argument there. However, we have a wedding we're going to in Tahoe next week, and we were going to be taking the camper. I'd rather take a new camper than an old camper. And from a practical perspective, if we're going to buy something like that, we should be able to take it, or we should take it out on the road right away. If there's going to be a problem, let's do something in that 30-day warranty period. So I wanted to get one right away. He wanted to wait. We talked about it. He wanted to wait. I wanted to get one right away. We weren't moving. We were not moving. We went out looking. We saw one I really liked. He didn't like. We found one we both liked. And it got already some negotiated price, like $1,000 knocked off the price. And well, this is looking pretty promising. So finally, John said, okay, we're going to go back in 2 weeks. If that camper is still there in 2 weeks, we'll get it. Well, you know what my spiritual mind treatment was. And actually, it wasn't for the camper. It was greatest and highest good. Greatest and highest good. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if this physical thing that is really important to me is it. I want greatest and highest good. I want a harmonious marriage. I want a beautiful trip up to Tahoe for a wedding. I want a delightful experience during the 4 days that we're up there. However that manifests, I'm totally open with. And I don't want to have disharmony in the marriage over getting rid of the old camper. Because there was a lot of stuff wrong with it. It was going to be a hard sell. Yesterday, somebody comes to our house, knocks on the door. Stephanie was there. She was just watching this whole thing play out, and says, I noticed you have a new camper parked in front of your house. Would you like to sell me your old one in the driveway? Seriously. Seriously. So we negotiated, and we looked at what they wanted and what we wanted, and couldn't come to agreement right away. They went away. We went back inside. Stephanie and I both had things to do, and when I got back home, John says, look at this check. They bought the camper just like that. We don't have to clean it. We don't have to do pictures of it. We don't have to do Craigslist. Greatest and highest good. Greatest and highest good. I wouldn't have pictured someone coming to the door and offering to take this camper off our hands. And things like, the refrigerator didn't work. We actually cut a hole in it for a block of ice, and it became our ice box. Those are hard to sell. Those are hard things to sell. Spiritual mind treatment, it works. It works with the small things like a new vehicle. It works with the big things like the relationship. And it's because we are all the same. We are all connected. We are all one. This is one of the greatest legacies that Ernest Holmes has left us. He's also talked too about the past does not have to define us. He goes, principle, I love this phrase, principle is not bound, but the word is bound by precedent. So precedent is our past. So when you're finding yourself going along a path that is exactly same you've been going along all your life, just repeat that as a mantra. Principle is not bound by precedent. Because it's a spiritual mind treatment is principle. It's the principle that's saying what you want from a divine consciousness. Being grateful and putting it out into the world will come back to you. So I invite each and every one of you to think about your own spiritual practices. If you're doing daily spiritual practice with the daily spiritual mind treatment, great. Try it twice a day. If you've never tried spiritual mind treatment as any type of routine, give it a shot. Maybe on a Saturday morning, when things are usually a little bit lighter level of activity for most people, start your day with just recognizing the divine. Unite yourself to that divine element you've just acknowledged. Give yourself an affirmation for the day. I'm going to be happy. Today is my day of peace. I believe that there's a world that works for everyone. Make your affirmation and then fill your heart with gratitude and let it go. Spiritual mind treatment. Let us pray. I revel in the silence, the still small voice inside, the divine mind operating in and through me as me. This is the divine love of the world, divine light, power, peace, joy, and beauty. Each and every one of these attributes of God, I've just also called out as attributes of me. The divine me, the me with a capital S, self. I know that this self is deeply connected to the one mind, and as such can do absolutely everything that the divine can, according to my belief. So today, I strengthen that belief. Today, I expand my consciousness in ways that I have never imagined before. I bring up my spiritual practice and increase it. Once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day. I make it even bigger than it was yesterday. As I do this, I see the benefits in my life, the peace, the joy, the love. This is the love of the world that exists, that as more and more of us embrace these teachings, we start creating the world that works for everyone. My heart is filled with gratitude, knowing these words, knowing this belief, knowing the structure of a spiritual mind treatment. In gratitude, I let go of these words, I let God, knowing that each and every word spoken is already manifest in the mind of God. I invite all of you to help me anchor these words by together saying, and so it is. Thank you.
So now it's our time for our intentional giving. If the ushers would stand. And join me in our intentional giving statement. I bless this gift with all my love. As I give, I embody prosperity and abundance, knowing I am fully supported by the universe. This is a symbol of my love and gratitude. It does great work in the world and returns to me easily, effortlessly, and often. And that's true. That's the law of reciprocity. Making me nervous. Nothing is lost in the universe. Well, I misplaced my check, but Bev, I know it was found. So we recognize nothing is lost in the universe. So let us pray. Divine Presence, Creator of all, in and through all, seen and unseen. As I am one with our Creator, so too is everyone here in this room and in the world. And I know that each gift given here today is blessed and given from the heart. I recognize that these gifts do great work in the world, and as we give, we make a place for these gifts to return back to us many-fold. That is the law of circulation, and that is the way things work. Each prayer offered and received in the ministry of prayer is already being answered in the mind of God. As our practitioners will lift each submission in prayer over the next week, I know that the comfort, the joy, the peace, and the abundance is already manifesting. It is with deep gratitude and appreciation that I accept these gifts and prayers on behalf of the Center for Spiritual Living Peninsula. And with the same gratitude, I release my word into the law, knowing that it is done right here, right now, in the mind of God. And together we anchor this prayer with, and so it is.
Good morning. My name's Stephanie. I'm going to be doing the announcements. It's so nice to be back here. I'm actually, yay! I live in Santa Rosa now, so I usually go to CSL Santa Rosa, which is about, well, we have 3 Sunday services in the morning, and each service probably has about 1,000 people there. I don't know, 500 to 1,000 people. And so it's a very big center. So it's really fun to come back here and be around my family. I feel like it's always coming home for a little visit. So thank you, Kathy, for that wonderful message. That was awesome. I was actually there, like she said, yesterday, and I just wanted to mention that it was a busy day. Kathy had just come from one thing and was going out to another thing, and yet she still opened the door to these people that just kind of randomly showed up when she was on her way out, and invited them in and started the conversation about, you know, how much they could afford and all that. And I just thought that was really cool, because a lot of people might go, well, I'm really busy today, can you come back another day? Or, you know, we're not sure if we want to sell it yet, or, you know, whatever it is, you can always kind of find a way to say no. And Kathy's the kind of person that never finds a way to say no. She always finds a way to say yes. So I just wanted to put that out there. All right. So, let's see. We got a wellness fair. Where's Elliot? Elliot's going to come up and talk about the wellness fair.
Okay, Elliot here. Does everybody want to feel well? Yeah. Oh my goodness. So part of what CSLP does is we emphasize those things that you really, 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 really want from the universe. And we are celebrating 100 years here of CSL, but CSLP, which is the Peninsula here, we're celebrating our 6 years old. We're 6 years old. But we have accomplished quite a lot in the 6 years. So just like we do everything, we do it with pizzazz. Now, in your insert, there's a little advertising about what the wellness is all about. I would like for you to take this home, but I also have the larger insert there too, for those of you who really want to reach out to the community and bring them over here to experience the CSLP. So without going into the details, it's all on here. We've got food, we've got fun, we've got health, we've got healing. All the talents that are over here, we're going to just show them off there too. So mark your calendar on August 25th, which is just a couple weeks away. Come to this wellness fair. And if you would like, grab some of these extra flyers and distribute. Okay, great.
So everyone think of one place they go every day, like Starbucks or work or your local coffee shop. Think of that place and then think of putting a flyer at that place. So usually Starbucks will let you put up things on their bulletin boards and things like that. So I think it's really important for us to get the word out, because I think that's a very going to be a great community event. All right. Let's see. Do you feel fatigued, anxious, or depressed? Do you suffer from tight muscles or energetic overwhelmed? You are not alone. Confusion and symptom overload are the norms for untrained empaths. On Sunday, August 19th from 12 to 4, Dave Markowitz will present a workshop, Healing for Empaths and Highly Sensitive Persons. You will experience healing and connection while learning specific tools and techniques that teach you how to effectively protect yourself from incoming energies. Ooh, that sounds really good. The workshop fee is only $35, and then you RSVP to Dave. I guess there's a flyer for that in the back? Okay, great. So the phone number to RSVP is on the flyer. All right. And on Friday, August 17th at 7 p.m., we have Spiritual Cinema. Elliot's other baby that she does. And in this month's movie is 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri, which I think was like nominated for several Oscars, and it was really a big movie this year. This film is a dark comic drama about a woman who rents 3 billboards to challenge the local authorities to solve her daughter's murder after months have passed without a culprit. It's a rumination on the benefits of forgiveness and also revenge. Spirited discussion will follow the movie, and love offering of $10 is appreciated. We have a cruise coming up September 8th through September 15th. Reverend Abigail and Reverend Kathy and the whole CSLP community will be going to Alaska. Talk to Reverend Kathy about reserving your cabin if you want to go on the cruise. It's always fun to cruise with people you know, right? So that'll be really fun. And just keep an ear out, an eye out, because there's going to be new Science of Mind classes in September, starting in September. And is Greg here today? Greg? Okay. Well, come back when Greg's here and he'll tell you more about that. Okay. I donated the flowers because yesterday was 2 years of from when I moved in with the Sharmers for a few months, and they opened their house up to me, and I realized yesterday on my way down here, I'm like, it's been 2 years to the day. So that's why I donated the flowers to them, and then they also brought them here today. So yeah, we're a family. All right. And Bobby, as she mentioned earlier, will be doing prayers after service, 1-minute miracle prayers, she calls them, and they are miracles. All right. And also we have our potluck after service. So please come. Everyone's welcome. If you didn't bring anything, that's okay. There's always plenty of food to go around, and we'll get to know you better. All right. Let's circle up.
I know, I like it.
Let there be peace.
I stand for peace. There be love. I am a stand for love.
Let there be joy.
I am a stand for joy.
We are making a new world now. Let there be peace.
I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love.
Let there be joy.
I am a stand for joy.
We are making
a new world now.
We
Are making a new world now.
And repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
It's this thing called life.
It's this thing called life.
Life is in my finances.
Life is in my finances.
Life is in my romance.
Life is in my romance.
Life is in my health.
Life is in my health.
Life is in my consciousness.
Life is in my consciousness.
I expand my consciousness today
I expand my consciousness today
and practice spiritual mind treatment daily.
and practice spiritual mind treatment daily.
And so it is.
And so it is.
That won't go away.
you. Magnificent. That's gonna butter you up instantly, you know? Wow. Keep it going. I'm sure you will. Thank you.
That was channeling.
Thank you. Yeah. That's who you are now.
It is.
Isn't that lovely?
Stepping into my
Oh,
power.
yes.
Stepping into my power.
I'm telling you. Magnificent.
Thank you.
Touches. It touched everyone in this room.
You could feel the energy, couldn't you?
And it's going to make a difference in how I'm living. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. You know? Yeah.